All right, Xbox gang, I believe we're ready to go here. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 200. I'm your host, Invader, and you know what? We've reached a bit of a milestone here for the show. It initially started back in 2015 with a very, very memorable cast, a lot of legendary characters in the podcasting community and content creation as a whole. With time, there's been new additions to the show, like myself, along with having a few of the legacy guys still kicking around on the show. For me, TXR has been nothing but a privilege to be a part of. I love being here each Sunday night with the rest of the panel guys, just hanging out with our listeners, chilling, talking gaming, Xbox talk, and a little bit of everything else. I hope you're all enjoying the show and keep enjoying it to show 300. Hey, you know what? Maybe the pandemic will be over by then, right? Anyways, guys, let's get on with things. And you know what? We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. The Halo Infinite Big Team Battle Insider has been going on this weekend. We'll give you our thoughts on it. As well, the Tokyo Game Show has come and gone. How do we rate it? Well, hey, you know what? We'll let you know how we felt and a lot more. However, first, let me introduce everybody on the panel tonight. And joining us is our friend from the Gaming Beyond the Box show and podcast. We welcome Wilmyhood. Buddy, it's great to have you back on. How you been?
Well, other than Friday kind of sucked, but I did get good news out of it, so there's that. I've been playing the hell out of Halo, and I've been told by people it's not that good and I shouldn't enjoy it. But that's okay because their opinions suck and they suck at life, and it's okay.
Yeah, been hearing a lot of that, Wilmy, for sure. Again, it's just a test. Where a whole bunch of guys who have the insider pass, been able to try it early, and apparently, it's an official release, right? So kind of crazy comments going on there for sure. I mean, I like criticism, but again, we will dive into that a bit later. But I totally.
But those bananas are fucking off the chain now, dude. When you shoot them, they actually explode.
I know, bananas.
So that makes the game much better right there, hands down. As long as you can shoot a banana, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, man,
that's what somebody said, so I'm just going with it.
Yeah, man, I've seen the pictures posted, and man, those melon physics, my God.
Last time you saw melons like that was on, Pornhub, right?
Yeah, weren't we just talking about Cornhub or something? Pre-show?
Well, that was Centurion. You never know what that guy's going to tell you, dude, off camera. It's just crazy.
Centurion, that guy with his corn talk. Oh, man.
We've moved on to tires now. Tires is the new dick.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I saw that a few minutes ago now. It's moved on to tires. So we're using the old school Firestones.
Oh, man, truth. A lot of talk, but yeah, we will dive into all that soon. But thanks for joining us tonight, Wilmy, and I'm glad to hear that you got some fantastic news recently. Let's see here. Introducing the TXR regulars. Shockley, buddy, what's new and exciting, bud?
So far, just been trying to get to Tales of Arise, adding some new characters to the party. But yeah, that's been pretty cool. I wanted to jump back into Scarlet Nexus, but that's where it almost got me into a bad position there. Because, I already own the game, but it was like, yeah, we might get to that later. But, this game going into Game Pass, I was like, yeah, everybody else was hype about it. And then I was like, yeah, let me jump back into it. I was like, wait, no. Let me finish Tales of Arise first, because that's the issue I had when I started Scarlet Nexus and then went back and forth with other new stuff. So I'm like, let me finish this first. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just been going through that and been definitely going through that beta. Got some more time with it this week with the big team battle. So that's been a lot of fun, but it's all been playing so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been sinking my teeth into it for sure. And no, that's great that you've been playing Tales of Arise. I've heard, I've seen some posts, probably from you, Shock, too. So, yeah, you've spoken a lot about that game recently, and I might have to download it myself, along with Scarlet Nexus. We'll get into that more later on, though. Moving on down the list, MLD, General MLD, brother, how you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good here. Given that you said it's a 200 episode, that's pretty awesome, and I'm happy to be here because the Twitter's one thing, YouTube's another. You're just talking to a camera, but there's just something special about just talking live, just off the cuff with other people in real time. It's just it's there's nothing quite like it. So it's good to be here. Otherwise, just playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla while playing Halo on the weekend. Big Team Battle is amazing, but we'll get more into that. But overall, like as a diehard Halo fan, Halo is coming back. The OG days feelings are coming back. So very positive times ahead.
Indeed,
So
brother.
do we need to make a Twitter space now for people that disagree with you?
No Twitter spaces.
Okay.
No
Just
good
check.
can come from those.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little old school, but like I don't know. I can't really get into them. I know we were talking a bit about like different social media, like apps and sites before in the pre-show, but man, I don't know. There's just like too much to engage with nowadays. I'm just like,
Is Twitter Spaces recorded, or is it when you turn it off, does it just go away?
Well, I think people just record them themselves.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Snapchat of Twitter. Basically, whatever you say could disappear as long as nobody's recording it.
Yes, but people,
Okay.
hey, it's gaming Twitter. They're always keeping online receipts,
Yeah.
Just to be careful. Whew. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I have seen those Twitter Spaces pop up a lot. I don't know. They just seem to be causing, I don't know, more ruckus than than they were intended. But yeah, whatever. I just kind of ignore it and move on to my own thing, right? But speaking of which, Centurion, the Corn Hub guy, how you doing, man?
Hey, what is going on, everybody? I have no idea what they're talking about, but with ADD, I guess I could talk about anything and everything. But man, Halo Flight, I'm hoping to get some in actually after tonight's show. Dude, I have not had a chance to play yet this weekend. But, I mean, what more could you love about what's going on with this game? Nothing like coming into it, mowing someone down, and finishing them with a good old-fashioned butt to the face, which these Call of Duty players are not used to. They're used to just random BS, like clipping somebody in the big toe, and they just go down for no damn reason. I remember I saw somebody on Twitter today complaining how long it takes to actually kill somebody in Halo.
Well, it's different when you actually have to shoot that person.
Dude,
And they have a shield.
Well, that's always been the case with Halo.
With
that
Halo,
it is
that's one of
longer
the
to
things I
kill.
love about
Otherwise,
it.
you would capture a flag, you die in like seconds, and no one would ever capture the flag.
I'm
and if you aim at
enjoying
their
it.
head, they actually die pretty quick if you actually shoot them in the head. But if you miss, it might take a few more shots.
They're used to Call of Duty, man, where you can just wing them and they'll go down.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know. You know what? We will dive right into that soon. But just to let everybody know, Tim Dog, he'll be a few minutes late. He's just in the middle of something right now. But he will be joining tonight's show, in case you're wondering. I see a lot of, I guess we've created a bit of a topic in the chat with regards to Twitter Spaces.
Oh, dude, I'm good at that. I can cause all kinds of commotion. You really want me to do it? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Oh, no. Everything's
I'll
good.
help him.
Everything's good in the chat. Just, again, guys, I don't know. I must be an old man at 35, but like I can't get into Twitter Spaces, and I'm just seeing a whole lot of I don't know, the same people, I guess you want to say, just causing the same kind of.
How about this? I didn't even know Twitter Spaces was a thing until one day I noticed on my phone this little icon pops up, and somebody that I wouldn't even listen to is live. And so far, I haven't really seen anybody, but I think Everborn Saga. Other than him, I haven't seen anybody else actually use Spaces that I would actually listen to. At least when I was live, anyways.
Well, I mean, if people don't listen to their podcast, they want somebody to at least listen to them somewhere. I'm not wrong. And see, Wednesday night during Gaming Beyond the Box, we did a simulcast. And while we were doing the live show, I actually started a Twitter Space just to fuck with people. It was great.
I didn't even, man, my phone didn't even tell me.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I think I would have tuned in if my phone would have at least told me.
I had to do it through the page. I couldn't do it on Twitter will not let Wilmyhood have a Twitter space.
Along with the
With
other
great
social
power
media
comes
sites.
great responsibility.
Exactly.
Wilmy banned, guys. But yeah, just interesting discussions for sure. I'll tell you what, guys, since we were already on the heels of it, why don't we get into our first topic, our first talking point of the night. And this weekend we saw the introduction of the big team battle to the Halo Infinite flight, the second flight. And I've been seeing a lot of positive things being said about across social media. Again, there are various criticisms, and I have my own. And I hope they do some different balancings and adjustings to certain things. We can certainly have that discussion. I've spent a considerable amount of time with it, and I know a few people on the panel have, if not basically everybody. Wilmy, I'll start with you, bud. Did you get a chance to check it out? I mean, from the sounds of it, I think you have, and if so, what are your thoughts?
Well, the funny part, I've never really been big on Halo, and most people that's ever, listened to me at all knew that. And I really started enjoying it with the first flight. I played 28 hours the first weekend, and I didn't get to play much last weekend, but yesterday, dude, it was the first time we've had that big of a party together in a very long time. We partied up. We had 13 people in the party, and we played for hours. One map, we just had fun. That's all there was to it. And now I'm a Halo fan. So I'm looking forward to it. I've had a blast with it. I mean, it's a beta. You can call it a flight. You can call it what you want, but I mean, it's a beta. It's not going to be completely perfect. It tells you that when you start. But, I mean, I've had a blast. And earlier, me and Leo, we had the greatest ghost battle in the history of Halo. Sadly, we forgot to record it. But, I mean, it's fun. That's what gaming's supposed to be. Am I wrong? I mean, it's supposed to be, at least.
I don't know. I thought it was for, political debates and, different things. But I mean, I could be mistaken. But
yeah, I mean, and the fruit works well, And I did see something earlier about there's not enough grass. But, like Jez Gordon said, there are space gophers. If you chase the space gophers down, that adds it like its own little mini game. But, I mean, dude, the game's fun. That's the whole point. And I did play a lot of Halo 3 back in the day, on occasion. But this feels like Halo. I really wasn't a big fan of Guardian. But this one actually, I mean, it's tight. The controls work well. I like the weapons. And the sniper is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and I will be on it day one.
No, that's great. What do you think of like some of the new weapons? I don't know if you got a chance with them, like the skewer, the big ass thing with the spike, the heavy weapon, or I don't know, just like some of the newer ones. Do you like any of those?
The Ravager is pretty cool. The heat wave, I've killed a few people with that one. The what's it called? The shock rifle.
Yeah, that's the one.
That thing is dangerous once you learn how to use it. You can literally snipe people with it. Plus, it takes down vehicles. But, yeah, I think I've used pretty much everything in the game. The battle rifles and the sniper are still my two favorite. But there is some awesome weapons. But the grappling hook is by far my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, the abilities, some of them are really cool. I've been having a lot of fun with the grapple shot, like you said, Wilmy. Also, like the repulsor, the one that like you send out a little like wave, I've been finding that useful. Like if a vehicle gets really close to you, they're gonna run you over. Just like you fling open the or you fling up the repulsor and it just sends a little blast their way. Be like, you know what, you can keep your space. And I've seen a lot of people do some really cool like trick stuff with it, like reflecting back what is it, skewer shots back at people and whatnot. So just a lot of really cool sandbox tools. I got to admit, a lot of the new weapons are really cool. Actually, just I'm watching my gameplay at the moment, and I love the fact that you can pick up a fusion coil and just like throw it at somebody or throw it at a vehicle. I love all these different sandbox elements and stuff that, again, was on maps before in previous games. And it's like, oh, you know what? It works. It works so well.
But that grappling hook, though, it's hard to deny, man, because that adds a whole new level.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because, like, yeah, there's just so much you can do with it. Like, for example, I played a couple of matches before I set up the show, and I had this one match where I was defending my team's flag for Capture the Flag, and there was a guy. He was about to grab the flag, but then I had a gravity hammer and I had the grappling hook, the grapple shot, and I grappled myself onto him. He would have like probably seen me by the time I would have like ran up to him or something, but since I used the grapple shot to get close to him, I swung my hammer and just bam, like just instantly. So I'm finding a lot of scenarios that, again, they may not have come up in previous.
Wait a minute, Invader's
games.
running around swinging his what?
My hammer, man, my grav hammer.
Gravity hammer.
Okay.
You know what a gravity hammer is, bud?
Huh?
Do you know what a gravity hammer is?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
He's just trying to take it down a different path. That's all.
Oh, I know. I'm just. Hey, man, we're all about swinging the hammers. You know. I understand. But I'm just
But
saying.
another
Man,
way that go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying. There's a lot of cool scenarios that you can do. But go ahead, Wilmy.
Another way that comes in handy too, if you're in a firefight, you've got more than one person coming at you, shooting at you, spin around, grapple behind them, and then try to take them out from the back. I've done that quite a few times too. Good
point. Yeah, there's like a lot of. I'm probably missing a few things, but yeah, that grapple shot is really cool. Guys in the chat, let me know like what your thoughts are of the big team battle, what you're liking, some of the, whether it be the different equipment, weapons, the map that we had, fragmentation. Because I thought the map was pretty cool. It gave me Halo 3 Valhalla vibes, but obviously it's a lot bigger to facilitate the larger player count. And I don't know, it's cool. I like it. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing. And like Wilmy was saying, space gophers on the map. So, you know.
Yeah, you got to chase the gophers, man.
Right. I know. I got to whack them with the hammer. So
damn right.
It's like instead of whack-a-mole, it's whack-a-space gopher.
That's it.
Yeah. Just I think it's a very aesthetically pleasing map, and again, it's very simple, but it works very well. And like yourself, Wilmy, I really like the Ravager. Again, it fires off a couple of shots, but you can charge it up, and again, it seems to like set fire to everything. So it's a very different kind of a weapon. And I don't know, I've been enjoying myself. I've been really enjoying myself with this. Again, I know it's not perfect. It's in the like test flights, but
well, I mean, think about it, dude. How many games of Call of Duty have came out? They come out every year, and the games are never perfect a year after they launch, and they never fix it. And why? Because they know they're releasing another one anyway. So I mean, this is going to be a dedicated game. They've already said that. And look how much it's improved. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun, dude. I mean, yesterday was the first time we've had that many people at a party playing the same game together in a very long time. So, matter of fact, Tim Dog was even in the party with us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody was laughing. I didn't hear people complaining. And that's what the whole thing's for.
That's right. Yeah. And again, like, you're totally able to critique it. Like, I think that's what the developers really want. Again, if it's not your bag, if it's not your interest, I totally get that. If you're not feeling it, that's cool. No problem there. But again, the developers just really want some constructive criticism in the beta. Well, I don't want to call it a beta, but basically is a beta. These insider test flights. And again, it's like 2 months away, so they're going to put in some time getting in our gripes, our feedback. Because I hate it when developers do betas, and it's only like a month before release. And it's like, is that really enough time to to fix like some various issues with a game. No, not really. A lot of developers, unfortunately, and publishers just use it as a marketing ploy, in my opinion. But in this case, yeah, exactly. And that really ticks me off. But in this case, it does seem pretty genuine that they want to work out the bugs with this game. And I don't know, I've encountered a few, but otherwise it's been a really fun, smooth experience. And a lot of I just love trying the new weapons, to be honest with you. Like that heat wave gun, the way that like it bounces shots off the map, and the way that you can alternate the fire, I think that's really sweet. Again, even the new banished weapons, really cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely have to get used to that. And every time I pick it up, I think it's the skewer gun. Or are those the same gun? Just, I don't know. They look the same when the icon, when I'm about to pick them up, it looks like it has like a, what do you call it? Like a bayonet.
Well,
so
that's
is that
the thing.
The Ravager, or is that the skewer?
Well, that's the thing with.
I keep thinking that's the skewer.
Well, banished weapons seem to all have bayonets, blades at the end.
So I was like, oh, sweet, I got the skewer again, and I was like, wait, this is the Ravager. What?
Even the shock rifle has a blade attached to it, so just not at the tip. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even think I picked up that one yet, but yeah, I was, yeah, definitely pretty much all the rifles are pretty well balanced, I feel. But yeah, just the skewer is probably the funnest one to use, just because the animation when you're just like spearing them. But that was a lot of fun. I kept thinking, I think I ended up having to grapple and I didn't know it, because I was like, oh, this is probably not it, and I just forgot to use it. But I saw some of those videos. I think Aaron Greenberg posted one where the guy's like literally following the what do you call it, that helicopter vehicle, I forget the name,
the Wasp.
And then
Wasp.
He's like, oh, the Wasp, yeah, he's basically just like gliding like Spider-Manning over to it, and then finally reaches it. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. But and then you can, like, if a warthog's going by, you can just like grapple the back of it and like you're basically on a ski on a boat. but yeah, it's been pretty.
Mm-hmm. I find that the shock weapons have surprisingly, I've gotten a liking to, because Wilmy, you had mentioned the shock rifle, and man, you can use that as like a dedicated sniper rifle. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Can.
Yeah, of course my headset just like goes dead. But yeah, it's been pretty sick so far. Can't complain.
Yeah,
but I hope they just keep doing these like every weekend. That'd be fun, but until the release. But
yeah, that's right. I mean, I was lucky I had some time off this weekend to do some partying up. Like Wilmy said, he got into a group with a few guys on what was it, Friday night. I was playing with our guest actually from last week, Crusader. I played a few rounds with him, and then I joined a party with Lady Foxfire, Dirty J, Timidos, like just a whole bunch of people. And again, like, I've just been seeing groups and groups of people just like, again, joining games and just bringing back this whole social element to Halo again, because I didn't see that with 5, to be honest with you guys. I mean, 5 had his pluses for sure, but I never really saw the excitement and joy that I see from this Insider flight alone. So I don't know. I didn't really play Halo 5 Guardians that much. I know, like, again, there's some people in that chat that probably like it, and hey, all the power to you. That's cool. Like, I don't know. I played a bit of it. I couldn't really get into it as much as previous Halos, but I feel like this is more of a return of form in my experience. So I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly, Wilmy. Like, and 343 have definitely added their own touches to it, and there's gonna be, again, this is only an Insider flight, but so there's bound to be things that, weapons we don't know about, and vehicles, and again, we're playing just a tiny sample, and they got to go through the bugs, go through the grind, and just, again, it's a process, and we're still a few months away from the actual release of the game, but I gotta tell you guys, like, if this is what they have, I am stoked, and it seems like such a return to form for Halo as a franchise. I'm really excited. I don't know, again, I'm gonna be I'm just gonna approach this, kind of cautiously optimistically, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Let's see, MLD buddy, what are your thoughts on it so far? Did you get a chance with Big Team Battle this weekend?
Oh yeah, definitely had a few hours to play. I like that it was randomized, because if it was up to me, I would have played just Slayer like all weekend long. But they have the control point one. You got the capture the flag. So usually those are out of my comfort zone. But the more I'm playing them, the more I'm having fun with it too. So like they just found a way just to make it all work, and I like that. And so now when the game launches, I'm gonna play more modes than just the modes I'm usually comfortable with, because like it's just different but fun at the same time. But going back to your other point, I definitely feel like it's a much different atmosphere compared to Halo 5. Like I remember playing the campaign with some friends, and then we played some multiplayer. But then they all just dropped off, and I just kind of played on my own for a little bit. It definitely was a different vibe. But this, I think, is just all about, nostalgia is just a very powerful thing. And they managed to tap into that nostalgia, but give it a new and modern touch as well, which I think is a very hard thing to do, but they actually managed to do it, in my opinion. Like, and they're also capturing a new generation here. Like, I think the game being on PC is a big, big plus. Like, a lot of people that just don't play on console or wouldn't get an Xbox are now going to be brand new Halo fans, and that's going to be great. Like, I follow all the YouTube Halo channels, and usually these guys are pretty old school. They're very nitpicky of the new Halo's styles, but now the majority is overwhelmingly positive, and the comment sections for those channels are as well. So that's also a very good sign. And then you got the haters nitpicking, and that's to me, that's also good news, because if all people can really do is nitpick the littlest little things, like a 400% zoom kind of thing, if that's the best they can do, this game is shaping up to be pretty awesome. So the map design is on point. The art style is back to form. Even the little tweaks, like the Pelican drops the vehicles throughout the match, like the loot cave kind of thing, where you put your AI to hack the door, and you got to kind of wait like a certain amount of seconds. You might get killed, you might not. Then you get the power weapon if that's true. Like little ways that they just make the game, the experience just better and build upon it. And even things like you guys were talking about the grapple shot, all the things you can do with that. Like I used the repulsor. Someone threw a grenade at me. I repulsed it back and got the kill for the opponent's own grenade. Like those wow, like those kind of moments. Like that's just it makes it feel like the old days again. Just having those little moments of where you just really like got the better end of that engagement, and you feel really good about it. So I can't wait. There's like no bad things I can say about this right now. It's just I'm very, very optimistic right now.
No, and that's fantastic, man. Like I'm glad to hear. I can sense the excitement in your voice, which again, it's a great thing to hear. Yeah, no, like it's been fun. And again, I tried to go into it with no expectations and just try and have a fun time. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've been a part of some pretty bad teams, I'll admit, in my random matchmaking, but I got into a couple of really competitive games. I was like, oh man, this feels great. So again, it just reminded me of times back in Halo 3 and even Reach. So I was just, again, very happy with what I've been playing so far. But man, making me lose my train of thought now. Centurion Pal, did you get a chance to play?
Well, you do know about the time I did play, because you played with me the whole time, which made it even more awesome. I mean, dude, I am excited for Halo. I have been missing this feeling since Halo 3. I mean, I tried getting into 4, didn't. Tried getting into 5, it didn't work. And now with Halo Infinite, I'm excited. It feels like the old days, like somebody else said it, the old days of Halo are coming back. People who had completely given up on Halo, when I have been gaming with them lately, they're actually asking me about the beta. They're interested in it. They are looking forward to the campaign. It kind of blew my mind. Even one of them said that they were going to go out and buy it day one. I was like, you got Game Pass. You don't got to do that. So that's where I'm excited for Halo. The community, everywhere you turn, everybody's talking about Halo. We see people reaching for the stars, grasping at straws to be able to find something to negatively put out about this game. But as Wilmy put out about it, it's not even a game. It's really a beta. But I mean, this is probably one of the few betas I've heard of, at least in recent months, where everything is going positively well. I mean, God, I heard horror stories about the Call of Duty one. And if I'm right, didn't Battlefields get delayed? Something like, oh, wait a minute. Battlefields was like invite only. I'm just wanting to say that I'm excited.
Well, the main game was delayed by a month, I think, right?
Right, the main game was, but if I'm right, the actual beta was invite only. I could be wrong.
I thought it was open, actually. I saw some people... Well, I mean, I could be mistaken, too, but I could have sworn it was open.
I don't know. I wasn't invited, and I have yet to even pre-order the game because I'm not too sure how many of my friends are even going to play it, but it seems everybody's going to be playing Halo, which is going to be the game of... in my opinion, the multiplayer game of 2021 that everybody's going to tune into and at least have to try. It's going to be fire this holiday. I mean, Xbox 343, I really am fully 100% believing they are going to knock it out the park with this game. And we really are going to be all hooray for Halo once again. And hopefully at this point, the whole idea of, 343 can't really, because how many people heard that 343 shouldn't be doing Halo anymore? I really hope this is going to put a lot of the naysayers at least quiet for a little while, showing that 343 is the right people for the job.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Halo fans want to give them a chance. Obviously, it's just I think there was a lot of letdown, I would say, with different approaches that they took with their two previous Halo titles. I mean, I did enjoy 4, but again, it's just a matter of direction and what they chose to maybe focus on in some aspects. I try not to nitpick, but I will say, guys, because I don't want to sound like a broken record with things that we've said before on previous shows, but I will say that I am happy and pleased with the direction that they are going with this, whether it be with regards to campaign aspects, multiplayer's fun. I so far I hope we get like I don't even know. I hope we get like a rundown of different campaign things and just another showcase for the campaign and what we'll be getting day one with the multiplayer too. So I'm just saying I'm excited with what they're doing right now. So, and it gives me a lot of faith too that Joe Staten is back in charge of things. So I don't know, when he's at the helm, I kind of trust with where they're going with things, whether it be with campaign story aspects and so on.
When it comes to 343, if you want the most negative things I've heard about 343, at least professional criticism out of both games, was the multiplayer for 4 was very lackluster, and nobody liked playing as Locke in 5. Those are the top complaints, and in my opinion, that isn't something you strip a company of making a game just because details that can be ironed out in a different game. It's not like they fundamentally broke the game. It was just designs of the game that people weren't really too fond of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Shaw. I'll just say that I think again expectations were a lot different.
Every time I always hear people say, "Oh, so you're saying they should give it to somebody else that's not as enthusiastic about Halo." These are the people that actually want to make Halo. That's where you go. So the people that really have a passion for it are the ones making it. So that's what you want. Now the direction has been maybe not that great, but the devs as themselves, you would want these devs making the game, and the multiplayer is speaking volumes of that. You can just see the hardcore of the Halo veterans. They're oh my god, you guys did it. This is what we wanted. They're making everybody happy, which didn't think it was possible. like these are the people. They're obviously hitting their stride. I think they're just the direction. That was the issue. And it looks like Joseph Staten's the guy to direct it going forward to be like a premier Halo game. Hopefully the campaign turns out. We'll see how that goes. But I'm switching over my audio. If I was crackling there, I was just switching that over for a second. So.
Yeah, you sound better. No, you sound better now. MLD, any more thoughts?
Oh, based on that, I mean, what really grinds me is when people say, "Oh, Bungie should go back to making Halo," and I say the same thing I've said for years. Like the Bungie that made Halo 1 to 3 in Reach is long gone. Like Destiny 1 had a terrible story. Halo 5 story is better than Destiny 1 story.
It had no story. Let's be real.
Yeah, I don't have time to explain what I'm
I was about to say that too. I was going to be like, there was a story?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you can read it online in memoir cards.
Yeah, we can go on for hours about that. Then got Destiny 2, which is no stranger to some controversy between like the fan backlash and Bungie's decisions. So, and personally, as a Halo lore fan, Halo Reach just it retconned so much of the extended universe. I today have not forgiven them for that. But that's just me because I read all the books. So I think 343, they're trying their new thing. They're trying to leave their own mark. But I think it took a couple Halo games for them to get to where they are. And you don't really, a lot of people say like a lot of eventual success, it comes from initial failures. So you can learn and build upon that. So the only con I can really say about 343 these days is that they don't meet deadlines for all the things that they promise. But again, all good things come with time. Like we'll get co-op in 3 months, we'll get Forge in 6 months. It'll come. And as long as it comes, great. Yeah, so be it. If that's the biggest nitpick I can say about 343, so be it. I'll wait if I have to. But I think what's going to be at launch is the result of just a lot of years of trial and error that they're finally getting right. So that's I'm glad 343 is still with Halo.
To add on to that, real quick, if you've ever heard what Michael Jordan said back in the day when everybody was talking about all the successes he had, he'd always stop and tell them before, everybody always gives him acknowledgement for his successes, but they never talk about the fact that he's actually missed over 6,000 shots, which are complete failures.
And I can add to that because Michael Jordan actually grew up in my hometown. And they actually refused to let him play basketball here at Laney High School for the longest time. Because his coach told him he would never be a basketball player.
Oh, really? Wow.
I bet that coach is really pissed at himself.
Oh, good. No, that's interesting, Wilmy. Wow. That's a very cool perspective on things. Yeah, again, like, I want to give 343, all the chances, and like other things Zing was saying in the chat, there have been a lot of there are a lot of ex-Bungie developers at 343, and which makes a lot of sense, right? You're passionate about a property and IP, you want to stick with it. The only thing I'll say is I know that they had brought in a few guys like around Halo 4, Halo 5 that weren't necessarily into the property, and I think you could tell in a lot of ways that that was rubbing off on the property, on Halo per se. But again, what I'm seeing from Halo Infinite, it looks, I don't know, it screams Halo, it screams classic Halo, and I'm so happy with what I'm seeing and what I'm playing at the moment. Again, they need to adjust some things. Like, I don't know about you guys, that drop wall seems absolutely weak. It doesn't seem to stop anything at any moment, so I hope they buff that a bit. And a few other things. I'm like the commando. I want to like the commando, but it just seems very inaccurate to say the least. I don't know.
Just fire it. Yeah. Fire it semi-auto. Do not fire it fully auto.
Oh no, I'm not even trying to fire it fully auto. It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I understand. I totally understand what you mean, but just even trying, like, it does, even like when you're just like slowly picking off shots, like just single shots. I don't know, even then, like the recoil is just very, it's just a little much. I just again, I want it toned down just a tiny bit, just so I can lay some shots. But yeah, again, guys, there's a lot of new weapons here that they've introduced into the sandbox, and it takes some time to get used to them. Again, I've only had a few days technically with this, so again, got to do a lot of experimenting and trying things out. But I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to this, but I've been having a lot of fun with these insider flights. It's kind of a shame that it's coming to an end
I
in
know
the next couple
that's the
hours.
worst part.
Right, and I want to play again, but I gotta work early in the morning, unfortunately. But after the first flight, I was like, oh, I need my Halo Infinite fix, and now it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the same thing, and it sucks that we're not gonna be able to play for like 2 months. So, oh well, that's just the reality of it. But either way, guys, I'm excited. I'm stoked, and it seems like a lot of people in the chat are. And definitely let us know in the chat what you guys are looking forward to the most, whether it be campaign, multiplayer. What maps would you like to see returning to the game? Which maps you liked in the beta? Which weapons and so on? Just just talk Halo. I want to see that in the chat. But yeah, guys, I think we will move on to our next topic. And this past week, we saw the Tokyo Game Show come and go. Xbox held its own digital showcase, which saw some rather nice little announcements. It wasn't a huge showing by any means. They don't tend to have the biggest showings at these Japanese game shows, but they had a little something. Cloud streaming coming to Japan, Brazil, Mexico, and Australia. In fact, I think it just launched October 1st. Games like Scarlet Nexus going into Xbox Game Pass and much more. Shockley, buddy, did any of the announcements catch your attention at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was hoping there would be some other big hitters there, but TGS usually isn't the show for that. Rarely is that the case for, I think, any of the big three at TGS. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely good and I think it was cool for Phil Spencer and to be out there with Shinji Mikami, because you kind of need some of that partnership for the Japanese viewers, just to be like, oh, okay, Shinji Mikami, you might not know Phil Spencer, the one that sells this console that sells like 250 units a week in Japan. So you might not know this person. So I think that was good, just like partnering, and then hopefully we'll hear some about that Jeff Grubb drop of the Kojima game that was being signed. So I think just aligning yourself with more of those game devs that Japanese gamers would know about because they've been so influential. I think that's smart. Also, I think they're doing a fantastic job with Sarah Bond. I think she's going to be, if someone's going to take Phil's job, like later if he steps down, I think it's going to be Sarah Bond. Just because she just seems like the most driven and has like locked into his vision. And them partnering and trying to like that, which is a great move to try to like upstart smaller devs in that area. So because right now it's hard. Sony's pretty much locking down all the Final Fantasies, pretty much anything they can get their hands on. That's like basically you're not going to see much Square games other than like their Western devs coming our way. So it's definitely good to at least we can maybe try to get some of this early talent, get some of their games, and then get our ties and make our your organic growth that way, like people like been thrown out there. Oh, I love that word, organic. It's like that Happy Gilmore line, green jacket, gold jacket, organic, GMO. Who gives a shit, right?
That means you got to buy your studios from Trader Joe's. That's the only place to sell them.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But I think that was a great move, partnering with some of the smaller devs, getting ties in with them early on. And then also they announced Tango is working on a new game other than Ghostwire, with the director of Evil Within 2, which I hear is the better of the two. I haven't finished yet the first one, which I'm in the middle of. But
I started playing it, but I'm going to finish it this month for sure.
Okay.
Though. Yeah.
But I wonder, obviously they aren't announcing, and they wouldn't even if it was Evil Within 3. but I know BG from Broken Games or Weapon Wheel Podcast. He's a huge fan of that game, so I'm sure he was like happy to hear that. But yeah, Scarlet Nexus dropping in Game Pass I didn't see that coming. Although people thought maybe that was like one that Microsoft would go after because they were the first one that premiered it at one of their E3 shows. That might go in there day one because it was a little bit lesser known of a game. I was almost not going to buy it because I was like, well, shoot, am I going to finish this before Tales of Arise comes out? Because that had my interest more peaked just visually. I ended up not finishing it, or getting very far before that happened. But that's definitely great that it went in there. The combat is I played it probably an hour. I'm thinking about 2 hours in on Scarlet Nexus, but the combat's great. Between that and Tales of Rise, the combat's awesome in both. So if you like, kind of that one's hard to. It's not like I wouldn't say it's not like anything like Devil May Cry, but there's a fluidity with its combat, which is pretty neat. So definitely give that a try. It's definitely worth it, and it's a double playthrough because you have a male character to get the full story, you kind of have to do through twice. And they hear a little bit more difficult on the second playthrough. So, but definitely give that a shot. Oh, also Redfall and Starfield. Todd Howard was out there letting everybody know that they're going to localize, which is very important, especially if they're making this push for Game Pass on devices. I know they're pushing, Surface commercials really hard there, trying to get people to like, hey, I know you're not going to buy our console, but hey, you don't need to. And our games are actually going to be localized this time. So instead of these horrible translations that just don't make sense. And so I think that is definitely going to help. They need that because when you try to just sell your games there and it just shows your lack of like, you don't care when you're trying to play through those games. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it. From, what I saw, that's kind of stood out to me, the localization, getting some of those big hitters like Scarlet Nexus in there. So you got that game dropping this month. It's in there right now. Then you got Forza next month. Then you got Halo December. So, I mean, Game Pass is pretty stacked. And we're just counting those 3 games, not counting all the other games that are in there right now. So, yeah, it's a pretty good show overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's really interesting that you bring up Todd Howard and Bethesda localizing the Redfall and Starfield games for like the Japan voices, because that's a lot of work being put into the game. Like that's a lot of work because you need an entirely different voice cast. You need to get it's a lot more work to do that kind of stuff, and it makes you wonder how much of a push they're making to get into the Japanese market, right, Chuck?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if they want to be taken seriously in that region, because right now they're definitely not.
Right.
But it's definitely a start, and they could really make a huge push with their Game Pass being on. Even if you have a service, you can Surface like tablet, like you can even play those games like natively if you just have, a basic tablet, or if you want to stream them. I'm pretty sure their infrastructure is probably a lot better than what it is in the US, at least like if you're in Tokyo and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So cloud gaming for them could be pretty decent. So
yeah, true. Let's see here. Wilmy, I don't know if you caught any of the announcements with the Tokyo Game Show, like whether it be, it could be like Xboxes or anybody else's kind of digital showcases. Did anything stand out to you?
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I'm maybe one of the few people on the panel. I have not played a Final Fantasy game since 7.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't interest me anymore, and I'm not into the Japanese RPGs whatsoever. I really just, what's the best way to put it? I just don't fucking care. To be honest. Yeah, I saw a few things here and there. At least they are making an attempt at this point, better than what they had before. But I mean, if they grab something from there, bring it over, whatever, it doesn't really faze me much either way. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a shooter, so it just doesn't do anything for me either way.
And that's what we love about you, Wilmy. You're a straight shooter through and through.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I could sit here and quote things to you that I've heard from other people, but I mean, it just doesn't. I don't care one way or the other with it.
Again, if I'm to be honest, as well, like, I mean, I dabble in like some of the content that comes out of that region, some of the games. It's just not something like a lot of those games I don't necessarily play a lot of. Although, I mean, I am trying to get more into that, whether it be Final Fantasy and a few of the other games. I'll admit I do really like a lot of the horror stuff that comes out of Japan. Again, The Evil Within. I played the first one a few months back, and man, I was really into that game. Definitely a lot of Resident Evil vibes there. And
now The Evil Within. Oh, I'm with you on that one. Because I've played both of them several times over. But other than that, none of it really does anything for me.
Yeah, I think it's just important for them just to keep getting Japanese games and not just get locked out of all the games they've been locked out of for years. So getting Dragon Quest over. Hopefully the 12 is coming now that they have 11. Definitely give that a try in Game Pass. Dope game. They got Yuden Chronicles. That was a cool ones from the people that made Suikoden, which was a huge game back in the PS1, PS2 days, which is basically taking some of the Suikoden's devs that are making kind of like their own version of it with the Yuden Chronicles that comes out. They'll have a game out next year on Game Pass and 2023. I think those are at least timed exclusive. So they're definitely doing the best they can. So, and now getting the Yakuza games over there. So if they could at least, I know Final Fantasy 16 is the big hitter. That's like at least probably a year time exclusive, but man, if they could steal the Persona series away, at least just not to be exclusive anymore, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Like, just one more. But yeah, I mean, they've definitely made a good improvement for sure.
Yeah, I think I get the feeling that they're working on the Persona series. I know Phil, I know Phil's been trying to get a bunch of series. I mean, Yakuza was a big accomplishment on its own to get Yakuza over here, so onto Xbox platforms, and they seem to be doing pretty well on the Xbox ecosystem.
With them doing the funding for PSO2 as well, because I know that's making them a decent chunk of change now, and they've basically helped put in the work to make that happen. So hopefully maybe they'll throw them a bone by maybe we should put Persona just on both consoles, because it wouldn't take us, any time to just port it to both for the next one. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Centurion Buddy, I don't know if you caught any of the announcements from Tokyo Game Show. Anything catch your eye at all?
Yeah, I did catch a few of the announcements. The one I'm excited for is to try out Scarlet Nexus. I'm really trying to figure out how I'm going to fit that in between all the other games I'm playing right now. But definitely excited that Xbox is making some moves over in the Asian market. Lately on social media, I'm seeing more and more folks on social media from that part of the world putting it out there that they are buying Xboxes and they're getting into the ecosystem. And they're really excited for the products that Xbox is offering and the services. I mean, what more could you want for Xbox right now?
Xbox beer would be great, actually.
Oh my God. And then somebody would spin that and all this other stuff. And basically, that'd be spun into a negative real quick.
I can just see it now, a Master Chief Light Lager or a Arbiter Dark. I mean, I'm just giving ideas here to Xbox. Like, come on. Like, you can have your Marcus Phoenix brew. I mean, come on. Like, you can have an Anya Blonde Lager. Just all kinds of stuff. Like, again, I'm just spitting out some ideas here. Again, Xbox, if you guys want to pay me for some, for these ideas, I have no problem with that. I'm sure guys in the chat would have fun making up some different beer names.
Would that be in the same category as Xbox soap?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm already picturing the Twitter spaces if that comes to light.
Oh man.
Xbox gamers have to get drunk to play Halo. So much inner space.
Xbox owners are a bunch of drunks.
Oh man.
Oh my god, and that was just a joke. No, I do really
Well,
not
come
believe
on.
that.
Like honestly, like they're the ones like being obsessed over like different pixelation of trees and whatnot. That like again, it's just a minor thing, right? And again, it's a beta, it's an insider test, whatever, right? Like we're still far away, and the game looks pretty sweet as it is. So I'm not gonna obsess over those.
Want to know why
things.
there's no grass? You blew it all up. There.
Totally. All right, MLD buddy.
Space Gophers ate it.
Oh, Space Gophers, yeah, for sure.
Well, then I blew them up.
Yeah. MLD buddy, yeah, you got any comments, anything like catch your eye, like any interest from the Tokyo Game Show overall?
I think I put Scarlet Nexus in in the backlog for later. Check that out in a bit. But in the overall, though, I was just really happy that they're really at least making an effort now in that region. All these Game Pass deals. They said they're partnering with like 200 or so indie Japanese developers. That's pretty good. But I think xCloud finally launching in Japan, I think that might be the biggest wild card. Because if you're going to crack the Japanese market and consoles aren't going to be the way to go anytime soon, that's going to be the way to do it. Because it was said before in the chat, internet connection's a lot better in the dense cities in Japan. The culture is very mobile, gaming focused now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think xCloud is just like one of their best shots to really just penetrate that market, gain those Game Pass subs without needing to sell a console to do it. But also, I also see the Xbox being kind of like a cult hit now. Like I'm seeing screens from the region of like shelves being empty, or the Series S being in particular the favorite as like a secondary console for many gamers there. Like it's certainly a big gen over gen improvement. I think I read maybe it was Destin or someone said that by the end of the year, if sales trends go the way they are, Series S and X will already outsell the lifetime of Xbox One for the entirety of last generation, which is crazy. So, I mean, between the Game Pass deal like Scarlet Nexus, Tango working on their next game, Starfield and Redfall getting Japanese translation, and you got Forza and Halo. Like, I think it's going to be a slow momentum, but there's definitely momentum here, which is very encouraging. So I hope in January we get to see some numbers and see all the milestones that Xbox may have crossed in the holiday period. So I'm just really impressed that they're really taking it seriously, and we're finally starting to see the results here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys caught it. There was there was an announcement. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure it was related to the Tokyo Game Show as a whole, but with a Japanese publisher, though, Square Enix, Marvel's Avenger was added to Xbox Game Pass. Anybody interested in trying that out?
I'm going to just add real quick. I bought that game day one to play some friends, and it went off like a literal lead balloon. I'm kind of disappointed, man. I know I've got some enjoyment out of the campaign, but I know the multiplayer is going to be at this point a total loss.
Well, I mean, I know a few guys who are really interested, like who not interested, but they're really into the game because there's a lot of big comic book fans, obviously, within gaming too, and I wanted to see this game do well. I know a bunch of guys that really love like a lot of the characters in it. Some more than others, but it sucked. Like,
I really hope they do redirect the game. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just with the multiplayer, every complaint I've heard, at least with the actual multiplayer, not doing the campaign multiplayer, is there's a horrible loot situation going on where it's extremely hard to get certain items, and let's just say the loot drops are very arbitrary, and I know a lot of people have complained about like the system for the multiplayer itself.
Yeah. like I don't know anybody else on the panel who's played the game, but yeah, I haven't personally, but I know there was a lot of issues with the game at launch, and yeah, the loot system is something that well, a lot of people just kind of talked about, and the game kind of died. You know, I've seen
So
some of the numbers, and it's not very, it wasn't very good.
I will.
Oh, I
be true.
bought
I
it.
didn't. You
Oh,
bought it.
really?
Okay, cool. So yeah, the
Mhm.
campaign was great. Well, I haven't completed the campaign, but it was a decent enough story to actually engage me. It was just I play everything, so I just get so easily distracted. But the campaign, I believe, was decent. It had a good story to it. It was very well thought out. You get to play some of your favorite Avengers. They even introduced new characters. That part of it, I actually enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
long
you
did that
saying,
take to beat?
Well, see,
Like just
I bought it because some of the guys on my podcast were buying it. Little did I know they had backed out, and by the time I'd found out, I was stuck. I'm not into comics, not at all, but I do know who the characters are because it's impossible not to know who they are at some point. But see, when I grew up, the Incredible Hulk was Lou Ferrigno. He's this big green burly dude that could just snap anybody or anything in the half. Well, when I played this game, I didn't realize playing as the Hulk that a tiny little human, you had to beat them 30 or 40 times to kill them. So it just kind of ruined the whole thing for me, because if you're going to be the Hulk, shouldn't you be able to just tear shit up wherever you go? That was my big complaint with it. You really weren't a superhero like they wanted you to think you were. And I just thought it was kind of cheesy, to be honest. The graphics looked good. The story was because I don't know anything about the story anyway. But yeah, after playing as a few of the different characters, I put a few hours into it and then just deleted it.
The one thing for the story is for you to really understand what is going on is you had to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to understand what Terrigen is.
really
They didn't really go into too much on the Terrigen crystals and where they came from and all this other stuff, which is basically part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how like being exposed to the gas can give you powers or it kills you. But that's where Terrigen comes from. And that was one thing I thought was interesting is they borrowed a major story plot from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, that's true. And I thought they could have added like I haven't played the game, but I'm kind of a little well versed in like what was in the game, because I've seen, again, a lot of friends play the game, right? And I mean, there's some obvious choices there. I did find it kind of odd that they did add Kamala Khan in, just because like her comic book didn't do so well. So kind of interesting that she was in the game. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, I mean, it has the typical, Thor, Hulk, and whatnot. But yeah, that's, what Wilmy was saying, though. I mean, it was kind of a grind fest, the way that you would, hit enemies, take them out, and, the rewards just weren't really there. So that and just the general content overall. Centurion, did you end up finishing the game, just out of curiosity?
No, because everybody fell off the Avengers train. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I meant to play. I was playing it with friends, and they all fell off that train. So I now have to basically go back and complete the game by myself now, which is no big deal. But that's where I kind of feel bad for the Avengers as a whole, because it's a really decent franchise, and it really stinks that this occurred with the game.
Yeah. And I know that Square Enix wasn't too happy with financially with the game per se.
Well, yeah, they put Crystal Dynamics on a shelf until Microsoft needed them.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
much.
unfortunately, yeah. No, that's the truth of it. But yeah, well, yeah, and that's a shame. A competent developer. They're working on this IP, but then you have to shoehorn in all these different loot transactions and so on, and it just kind of it kind of sucks that it ended up the way that it did, because again, people love these IP, these franchises, these characters, and it just kind of ends up the way that it does. So yeah, just very unfortunate. I mean, I would like to see it have some life, some legs, and since it just got brought to Game Pass, but I'm kind of wondering if that stigma of the game will just carry on, right? So I guess we'll just have to wait and see because they'll probably put out some numbers if it does well.
I'll at least give it, the devil's advocate thing where I'm hoping to give it some positivity because I remember Elder Scrolls Online before it was in Game Pass. And I mean, there were some times tumbleweeds were blowing by. Definitely when it was introduced into Game Pass, and this was even before Bethesda was bought out. I just want to point this out. It increased player count significantly. I mean, people were always in the major hub cities at that point.
Interesting. Well, again, we'll find out how it does soon, I would imagine. But give it a chance if it's in Game Pass. I know that everybody has a backlog, but then again, I say that and then I download all kinds of games from the Game Pass service. So we'll wait and see, guys. Anybody have anything else to add to this, or no? Yes, no? Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to some other news then, guys. Let's see. Earlier this week, during episode of The Wrap, Xbox head Phil Spencer and Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick joined their live discussion going on. And during this talk, Zelnick brought up Game Pass numbers. I know, the dreaded Game Pass numbers. Saying that, Phil, you've got about 30 million subscribers, something like that. Question mark.
No, he said we have.
He said we.
Oh, did he? Because I mean, from what I was quoting. Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. He said we've got about 30 million subscribers, right?
That's
and
exactly
then
what he
that's
said.
when Phil was like, well, the last publicly announced number was 18.
Oh, interesting. Well, okay. Well, I mean, I was the site that I was looking at. Interesting. That was misquoted then. But yeah, like you said, Phil was stating that. Oh yeah, the last number that we officially announced was 18 million. And okay, again, it was an interesting exchange that went on there, guys. And I know various outlets have been reaching out to Xbox for the exact numbers for Game Pass, but we'll get into all that. Let's see who we're gonna start off here. Centurion Buddy, what do you make of this whole exchange here? Did Take-Two's CEO let slip the numbers, or was it just something that just randomly he pulled out of thin air?
So on the Shop podcast, we also discussed this last night, and Fuzzy Belvedere, shout out to him. He actually had some good numbers to really think about it. He put out so about 18 million was the last publicly announced number. And I believe that was January, February?
Yeah, January.
And they were getting about 1 million subscribers a month, on average, air quotation marks. And so if we kind of go off of that theory, at least the numbers that were put out to me was they'd be somewhere around 25 to 28 million possibly. And that's where at least the quote I heard was they were just under 30 million. Mm-hmm. Did he specifically say 30 million or under 30 million?
He said it kind of like, hey, or basically he was saying we're about 30 million. And then he was kind of asking as a question just to confirm the exact number with Phil. But he was hinting at yeah, last time I checked, we're basically around that number or close to it. So he kind of didn't know the exact number, but he probably had recent numbers because they had games that were in the past couple months.
I just wish I could see the video.
CEO. So he probably had a number that was close to that. And then now when they did the interview, he was just kind of rounding up, thinking oh, it's probably close to 30 now.
I wish I could see the video because it was taken down.
There's definitely clips of that part where he says that part is still clipped in tweets.
Okay. I'm just
if you find some from that
I
day,
thought it was a good case of foot and mouth syndrome at that point. Oops.
Maybe because he did say we, which is odd. You wouldn't say we when you're interviewing somebody that's not part of your team or you're not part of them. You'd be like, oh, your service that you guys run, you wouldn't say we. That's a weird slip unless he's saying unless they have some type of deal, which Invader did point out with that article. Maybe it's not them buying Take-Two, but maybe they have some other deals lined up in the future. I don't know. So maybe that's why he's saying we. It's just a weird word of mouth slip up. So.
Well, again, I'm assuming that Xbox's partners, like the other publishers, they would have an idea of of the numbers that they have, right? Because they share all kinds of statistics and whatnot with their partners, to try and get them to put more content into Game Pass that it's worthwhile for them, correct? So they should know the numbers.
Being the CEO of Take-Two and and basically the owner of Rockstar Games and all the other thing under that umbrella, he's a pretty influential person, and if anybody had access to the analytics of what Game Pass is doing, he would be one of those individuals.
Yeah,
I find it very hard to believe he just made it up. So,
but then the thing is, too, since you're on, why would anybody just hand him those numbers?
Oh, exactly. Well, either they're being bought out and put under the Microsoft umbrella, which would be a dreaded day for a lot of gamers. And I'm not saying that as a negative, just a lot of people would just be completely mind blown. It'd be Bethesda all over again times 3 or 4. But definitely it shows that there's probably a partnership going on, at least.
It would make sense that he of all people would have those, at least not like maybe the up to date day like numbers. But whenever they recently did their deal having, I think it was either GTA or Red Dead, in Game Pass, they would have some data to go on. And he's the CEO of Take-Two, so he's not going to break NDA. So you can kind of share some of that with your high-level partners. Now, he probably thought the number he was trying to give was like public, because they were updating it pretty regularly last year. And even when Phil was like he wasn't correcting him, he was just saying like, oh, well, we're not the only now a number we're going to give publicly is, hey, we said 18 million back in January. That's it. But then he goes on to say, oh, well, it's more than 18 million. So, but we'll move on. So he doubled down on it that, hey, it's more than what you say it is, or more than what your last estimate was. So we know it's greater than that, even though Phil's like, I don't really want you to go
You're
there,
all waiting for the door to get kicked in. Somebody puts the pillowcase over his head, drags him off camera.
But then he kind of doubles down, saying, "Well, we know it's more than 18," and then Phil doesn't like push back on that or anything. So
True. Yeah, I just kind of wondering like what time period they're waiting for to release the official numbers, because if you want my opinion, I would think that they would wait until maybe early January to release some numbers, like once Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite have entered the fold into.
And that's probably what they're doing. Like, even if they were close to like 28 million, they probably see like, hey, shit's about to explode when we drop like Forza, and then when Halo drops, they're probably thinking they just want to announce that number because they know it's going to be, maybe it's not over 30 right now, but it's growing probably closer to that made the CEO of Take-Two comfortable to say like, estimating or like saying, it's close to that number. There's a reason he didn't just like Jeff Grubb said, he just said it out of thin air. But in a sense, maybe, but he was probably basing it off of data he had seen before, which made him believe like him estimating like, ooh, what it is now. So he probably had somewhat of a number that like gave him a, inclination that, hey, it could be closer to 30 million now. So, Jez said it was like what, 23 million back in April. He saw, some report or some document, but.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
who knows?
It was that's what it was reported as. But Xbox and Microsoft have been pretty silent so far since the beginning of the year. From what Grubb is saying though, like according to his sources, it dipped below 23, which I don't know. I find that kind of interesting that he would suggest that, but
even so, that was back in June last quarter. That was back in June, so it's been more than 2 months now since then. So, it could have grown closer to like 26 to like it's probably getting in somewhere. It's probably somewhere in that ballpark between 25 and 30. It's probably like right in there, which would make sense at the rate it was growing last year when you basically only had, maybe those last couple months, but you basically only had Xbox One to get that on and PC and, their early cloud beta. Now you actually have next gen consoles to base it on, and with the upcoming games that are going to hit, more people would have been like, hey, because we thought maybe we might be playing Halo sooner. Mm-hmm. So people would have been, still continuing to sub. And they had a pretty good summer lineup of games that were going to keep hitting. So they've been pretty good this summer with content, whereas last summer, like, it wasn't as good, in my opinion, even though people were in the pandemic, so more people playing games. So that's kind of why that went nuts. But, I mean, it's probably close to that, but I don't know. People think it's like, no, he's basically confirmed. He corrected him. It's 18 million. Like, no, it's not 18 million. He didn't correct shit. He just said the last one we're going to let everybody in the world know is, hey, we said it was 18 in January. That's all he said. He's like, hey, that's the last number we reported. We ain't liberty to say the update of it, what it is right now. So.
And it is kind of interesting, too, that, with all this talk about Take-Two and Xbox, Microsoft, that they're going to be bought by them. And then Phil and Strauss Zelnick, the head of Take-Two, just, all of a sudden are, discussing Game Pass and everything like that and other gaming-related things. It just, I don't know, just kind of interesting timing of everything, right? So
that seemed like an odd interview too. It was like, wait, what? The Take-Two CEOs? He was the other girl, or the other lady was the moderator, I guess. But I guess the Take-Two CEO is the one like interviewing him, the one that was like not feeling. I mean, he likes Game Pass for some of their legacy content. Obviously, he's not going to drop a game in their day one because he doesn't get all the money that Microsoft gets from like people joining their, Microsoft store and buying a bunch of other shit. So
yeah, I will say though, I mean, we had brought it up a few minutes earlier that it is interesting too because they have had GTA. I remember at the beginning of the year for a few months, Red Dead Redemption 2 a little bit earlier, and then I think Red Dead has entered the service again, if I'm not mistaken. Red Dead Redemption 2,
just the online port.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But still, I mean, they've experimented with a few, and I think it's done pretty well. I mean, heck, even I had downloaded GTA 5 to get caught up a bit on it. But I mean, GTA 5 is on everything these days. But I don't know, just like interesting seeing in the service. Go ahead, MLD.
Oh, I was just thinking, I think the overall point of this whole thing is that it got people talking about Game Pass again. Overall, everyone puts in their own little 2 cents. But overall, I mean, to play devil's advocate, I think there's a ceiling that Game Pass will hit on consoles sooner rather than later. I mean, there's only so many consoles being made now with the shortages, and Xbox One only sold like 50 million lifetime. I think at a certain point, it's going to hit a wall, and it will depend on xCloud adoption and PC Game Pass subs to really get this thing going until console production gets normalized and more free-flowing. So I think the most realistic guess I can say is that they will wait till the January quarterly result announcement to say the next Game Pass number. Because I think the holiday period is just a lot of potential. You got Halo and Forza. You got Game Pass PC growth. And then you got xCloud in Japan, Brazil, Mexico. So I think they're just going to bank on that, market it as best they can, and see after the dust settles in January, see where they're at. So I don't mind. I don't mind waiting a year to see the next milestone result, but I think they'll be in a good place come January.
Yeah, I think they'll want to strut their stuff with the numbers they'll see from Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite for sure. Very, very massive titles, and it looks like, I mean, this year's shaping up to be pretty good for the holidays, game-wise, new games. But it looks like Xbox is going to have a pretty, I don't want to say dominant, but they're going to be doing pretty well there compared to some of their competition. Anybody else want to add something to this before we move on? All right, I'll take that as a no. And okay, with that, fellas, we will move on to our last topic of the night. And we've got to cover some notable acquisitions that were announced this past week. PlayStation finally announced officially that they picked up Bluepoint Games. You'll know them for their remakes of, what was it, Shadow of the Colossus, and most recently Dark Souls, which I had picked up. General MLD Bud, we've been seeing a lot of chatter regarding, and we had mentioned this earlier too, organic growth, if you will, with regards to acquisitions. What do you think of these acquisitions, like Bluepoint? Because it seems like a long time coming.
Oh yeah, this is definitely unprecedented times. There is no other point in gaming where Sony bought this many studios in so little time. Because I think it's 5 studios this year: Bluepoint, Fabrik, Firesprite, which then incorporated Fabrik, Nixxes for PC, and Insomniac last year.
Housemarque as well.
Yeah, of course, Housemarque as well. So 5 studios within so little time. I said on Twitter, we're in an arms race right now. This is like the Cold War for consoles right now. Each side is just building up their arsenal right now. It's just a time of consolidation in the industry. It's, EA's been doing it. Let's see, Netflix is even getting in on the action now. Who knows where that's going to go? It's just a lot of just uncertainty right now. But at least we know Xbox, they're not resting on their laurels. They're not stopping at Bethesda. Like, we also, we read, there's something on Twitter where they're giving the same treatment that Sony gave to, Bluepoint with Demon Souls. Like, they're going to see how Crystal Dynamics handles Perfect Dark. They're going to see how IO Interactive does their Project Dragon game, and Avalanche with Contraband. And hopefully, if all those games go well, the rumor, they say, is that Xbox will pick all those up as well. And that's in addition to whatever deals they're still doing behind the scenes. So it's very exciting, that's for sure. Everyone has their camps, everyone has their preferences, but all the developers that are independent, they won't stay independent for long. So this is like just an arms race, a whole generation in the making, and we're going to see it for years to come. I'm very interested to see where each brand stands by in a few years' time, that's for sure. So, but luckily, I think Xbox is in the best position, at least among the big brand, the big 3 for consoles. They got the money, they got the vision, and in order for them to be the number 1 subscription service in gaming for all time, they got to keep buying. They need content. They know that the CEO is behind them. So whatever Sony does, it just makes me smile because Xbox just has to respond that much harder to compensate. So I'm just very excited right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up Xbox too, because again, I have a feeling that this is in response to, well, again, the changing industry. It's good, it's very healthy for Sony, for PlayStation to be doing this thing. Everybody thought back in, what was it, July or something, when the Sony or PlayStation Japan Twitter kind of announced it, broke the news a little early, and then they retracted it, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody kind of knew that Bluepoint was coming. It was just a matter of when. And yeah, they're finally here. No, they're a talented studio, and it's a good pickup for them, along with Firesprite, including their acquisition of Fabrik Games, because they did the Persistence, and I believe that it's strategically, it makes sense for them because again they dabbled with VR as well with 1 or 2 of their games, so I can understand that pickup. But yeah, they made some pretty good moves as of late, and I think it's in response to Xbox. Again, we keep talking about that move that they made just over a year ago now with buying ZeniMax with Bethesda, and the entire industry took note of that. Everybody was seeing Xbox gear up with buys of Ninja Theory and Obsidian and so on, and then it's like, wow, Microsoft is really flexing their muscle in gaming with acquiring Bethesda. So, and they probably know that there's other moves to come on the Xbox front. So I think it's strategically, it was solid moves by Sony. Centurion buddy, what do you think of some of these latest acquisition moves?
It definitely shows Sony has been paying attention and that they definitely should compete We're seeing Microsoft and everybody else starting to buy up studios, so why not Sony? But I think it's really funny how lately, if you saw the word organic kind of thrown around about some of these studio purchases, because everybody's still bitter about Bethesda and how it wasn't organic, even though Microsoft and Bethesda actually had partnerships that went over many generations. The one thing that I thought about one of the studios that Sony just picked up, though, which I thought was really interesting, was Firesprite. We're talking about a studio that's made up of developers that came from Studio Liverpool that was bought out by Sony and shut down. And then they went and started Firesprite, and they've been bought out by Sony. Could you imagine being in that situation, being, the guys that bought your last place you worked at and they shut it down? Well, they just bought this one too. That would be that's a little off-putting for me, because you can't say that Sony does not have their hands dirty when it comes to studio closures. It's very interesting that they're making all these purchases. I'm really excited for what is going to become of all this, because we're going to see even more great games out there for us to enjoy. We're going to see more competition out there to push these developers to give us great games with different things that make us all talk about it and argue on Twitter. This is going to be nothing more than benefiting us gamers as a whole. And I'm not going to lose sleep over, well, they bought this guy and so-and-so over there bought this guy. It's just really nice to see these companies are actually investing time, money, and effort into the platforms that we all enjoy to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, like, this is across the industry too, Centurion. As General MLD had stated, Netflix announced the acquisition of the Oxenfree dev Night School Studios. I'll admit, I haven't beat Oxenfree myself, but I enjoyed a little bit what I played. I thought it was an interesting, indie narrative title. But I think that like we'll be seeing more of these acquisitions too as time goes on. Like, especially with Netflix, they'll be buying, I'm kind of curious to see if they'll buy either like smaller studios or maybe some larger ones, but there's a lot of consolidation going on in the industry right now. It's very interesting, and different publishers are really trying to fill their back catalog. It's very interesting what's going on. And Microsoft with Xbox Game Pass seems to be very much ahead of the game.
Well, we're seeing consolidation in the big, at least in between Sony and Xbox. They're obviously consolidating their brands. They're wanting to definitely have the most diverse portfolio that they can build when it comes to what they can offer the consumers for software. But also, we're seeing people enter into the game. Well, we saw Google take a shot at it. We're seeing Amazon actually, for starters, have a little bit, I don't even want to say success, but they're having definitely a conversation on this game that they got coming out, New World. And now, like you pointed out, we got Netflix. Netflix has already been kind of poking at that bear. We had Stranger Things, the video game, come out. Now we're seeing Stranger Things Netflix that's going to show up in March 2022 for Far Cry 6 DLC. It's definitely interesting now that we've got some new players in the game that are wanting to actually start trying things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. Shockley, buddy, do you got any thoughts on this? I mean, I would think that Bluepoint at this point, no pun intended, that it makes a lot of sense, this deal, this buy by Sony, right? Shockley? Shockley, I'm not sure what's going on with Shockley's end. Wilmy, buddy, what do you think of Sony buying Bluepoint? I don't know if you played like any of the Dark Souls games or any of the remasters that they've done. Do you think this is a good buy for them?
Well, it made sense. I mean, it really did. I did not play Demon Souls because I played it the first time around on the PS3. But, I mean, more power to them. I want both these companies to buy studios because I don't want Tencent to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Shh, we don't say their name. They're like Lord Voldemort. Okay, we don't talk about them. I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but I still don't. People still love to throw around that word organic. And what was the studio they bought before this one, Centurion?
Fire Sprite, and dude, there's a whole list of them. But yeah, but
Nixus,
Studio Marquee, Nixus,
Housemarque.
Studio
Now, Fire Sprite.
Fire Sprite was the one that they bought just before this one.
Yeah, Fire Sprite's the one I was thinking, because that was basically consisting of people that was in the old studio that PlayStation unbanded, had basically cut loose.
So it's
And
like
I guess it would be a shock. To me, it would be a shock if somebody came in and I went to work on Monday and I was told, well, the studio is no more. So I picked myself up and, create another studio just to get bought up by the same people that shut me down the first time. That would be kind of a rude awakening, wouldn't it?
You know that boss you hate that you quit your job and got away from? Well, he's here now.
I don't see people talking about that perspective of it, but I mean, that's what happened. That's exactly who Fire Sprite was. It was a lot of developers from their older studio. And I don't know. Let's face it. I game on everything, but they'll probably make games just like some of the other PlayStation games. Because as much as I hate to say it, a lot of their games are the same. I mean, a good chunk of them. So that's probably why they purchased them to begin with. There's not a lot of diversity in there. So, and buying Bluepoint, we all knew it was going to happen. They actually advertised it already anyway.
Yeah, right.
So, and then claimed that they did it on purpose. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see who Microsoft comes out with and who else Sony goes after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Sony don't make the same type of acquisition like Microsoft does.
That's correct. Yeah. What do you think about Wilmy? What do you think about like Jeff Grubb's comments that because again, Xbox, like according to him, he says that Xbox are happy with what they have. I mean, we all know like that they're always talking to developers and publishers from the looks of it. Like he says that while they're happy with what they have, like they're keeping an eye on IO Interactive, Avalanche, and even Crystal Dynamics. They're being tried out with like a lot of the games that they're working on. Like, do you think that some of those developers would be good fits for like the Xbox family, Xbox game studios?
Why not? I mean, it may not be a giant acquisition like ZeniMax was. Everybody calls it Bethesda, but it's technically not Bethesda. It was ZeniMax. And if they do something, it'll probably, then again, it may be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they've already said they're looking for more studios.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I mean, they're one of the biggest companies in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They've got very deep pockets. They can buy pretty much anything they want. So, I mean, we'll see. And I don't think it's going to happen when everybody predicts it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll just be kind of a shock and a surprise. But I don't really think it's going to be Take-Two.
Mm-hmm. And that's a fair comment because, again, we say things, some things get suggested, but we really don't know until it's last minute, right?
No, Phil Spencer knows. That's probably, there's probably maybe 5 people know, and that's it. But I really don't think it's going to be Take-Two. But I think it probably will be a considerable size studio or multiple. But, Avalanche would be a good fit. Mm-hmm. IO Interactive definitely would be a good fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Hitman. So, I mean, we'll see. And like I said, I want them to just keep Tencent away and embrace your group. So as long as we can do that, we're all good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what Sony did with with Bluepoint. Just like they saw Demon's Souls, they had a good Metascore, sold over 1 million copies. It was a good fit. I think that all of PlayStation's buys, they all make sense in their own way. They all seem like a nice fit. But at least from my perspective, I'm just happy that at least they didn't steal away any IPs. like how kind of Xbox is doing with Bethesda. But I mean, with at least with them, I could just laugh at the meltdowns. But at least Sony isn't in that position to do the same thing. So, but they like to buy small and grow from there. It's funny, people are talking about the organic stuff with the studio that they already closed in the past. I mean, I call that compost, if you ask me. It's like it's step up from organic. They composted that and then they plucked the new flower that came from it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, no, that's actually a pretty good quote, MLD. I'm gonna have to steal that one for future conversations and threads had arguing on the Twitterverse. But going back to you, Eric, what do you think of the acquisition of Bluepoint by Sony? Do you think that's a good fit?
Yeah, I think it's a great fit. I think it just protects, kind of like when they got Insomniac, kind of protects their, what they built up with that studio. So it totally makes sense. It sounds like they're working on people thought it was like original IP, which could be it, but they said original content, not original IP. So I wonder if it's just going to be from one of their existing IPs and just making like new content for that. So I'm not sure what they meant, but yeah, definitely great pickup for them. But I think we're just going to continue to see, basically this arms race of just content, IPs, built up talent, studios, because there's only a limited amount, to go around. So, and it is funny that Jeff Grubb, kind of points it out, because you have IO, you have Avalanche, you have Crystal Dynamics. They're kind of trying out, so to speak. So, that would be organic, I guess, because they'd be making a game and then they work with them and acquire them, just like Guerrilla.
Oh yeah.
So, it's definitely a great pickup for them. I think you're going to probably see. I was pretty sure you'd see a few more, because I think they have good deals with some newer studios that popped up that they haven't acquired. So I could see the same thing happening with some of those after they try them out, after their game comes out, does well, kind of like Housemarque did with Returnal.
Yeah, because
you're probably going to see that.
Yeah, because they're working on something with Jade Raymond's new studio, and I forget. Wasn't it like there's a studio by a bunch of ex-Treyarch guys, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. Is it Deviation Games or something? I forget.
It's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they got some stuff going on, and and again, like going back to Xbox, they had stated in the Tokyo Game Show Phil Spencer, that they're working with like all kinds of Japanese studios. Like, what was it, like I want to say something like 200 developers at this point, which is very exciting for them. But with regard, there's you're right when you say there's an arms race for studios at this point, because everybody's trying to get content for different subscription services. I mean, Sony has PlayStation Now, but we haven't seen anything.
That's not a competitor with Game Pass.
No, that's what I'm saying though. But that's.
I mean, it's I've had PS Now for 2 years. It's just, unless they make the games where you can actually download them, then maybe they've got a shot. But no, not as it sits. They'd have to do a lot of improvements.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be curious to see. Like, I think it's coming that they will be doing their own subscription, like, again, their own Game Pass service at some point, but they're a little behind the game as it is with that, so I think they're gearing up for it. It just, when we'll see it. Maybe next year, next E3, who knows? But they're a little bit behind, as are a few other publishers. Xbox is very ahead of the game with this, and they were smart to do it a few years back. But yeah, guys, either way, just exciting times with, gaming, consoles, and all that jazz. It's different. We haven't seen this before with all these different acquisitions, and, it just seems like everybody's, when it hits Monday, or at least Tuesday, we hear about different acquisitions, like there's a new one each day. So, who knows, tomorrow? Who knows? Maybe Take-Two will be bought by somebody. Hopefully not Tencent, as everybody's been saying. I really don't want Tencent to get bought by, Tencent to buy any big publishers, because that would be a bad thing for gaming, in my opinion. Ooh, very bad. But yeah, guys, I think on that note, it'll be a good point to start closing off tonight's show. Really fun show with the panel, as per usual. Tonight we covered our impressions of Halo Infinite's big team battle, the Insider flight going on, Tokyo Game Show, specifically the Xbox content showing off, Xbox Game Pass numbers, and more. As usual, a huge shout out to all the viewers and listeners in the chat that joined us tonight. Guys, really great stuff. Thank you for being with us, especially with the 200th episode tonight. We really appreciate having you, seeing you here all the time, and we hope to continue that. Always a great chat for sure. Moving on over to the panel outros, and starting out with our guest Wilmyhood. Bud, thank you for spending time with us, chatting about games. It's always great having you on, Bud. You really speak truth, to say the least. Where can
I'm at that age, dude. I say what comes to mind. Some people don't like it, some do. It doesn't fucking matter to me anymore. I'll be honest.
No doubt.
You can find me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Gaming Beyond the Box here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter, unless you're one of the 108,000 people I have blocked. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. I do have a Switch, but it hasn't been turned on in like 3.5 years. It probably doesn't work anymore. But that's about it, and it was fun to be on here. And sorry, dude, if you follow me on social media, I had kind of a weird thing happen Friday. So I'm in a little bit of pain, so I'm not my normal self right now. But it was fun to hang out with you. I haven't been on in a while, so everybody have a hell of a night and game on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and glad to see you doing well, even with the pain there, Wilmy. Glad you're recovering very well, Bud, and hopefully you recover very quickly from that. But yeah, guys, it was great again having you on, Wilmy. We'll definitely do this again sometime soon. Let's see. Moving on over to the TXR crew, as noted in the chat. Yeah, Tim Dog couldn't make it, unfortunately. He's busy with something. We thought we could get him on, but didn't seem that way, unfortunately. But he should be here next week. No worries, guys. Let's see. General MLD Buddy, some really good points tonight, brother. Where can everybody follow you at?
Thank you. Twitter is at MLD Ghost. YouTube is General MLD. As always, a great chat, especially with our guest here. Xbox is always, providing information, new things to talk about every week. And I think next week will be no different. So looking forward to that, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's see. Shockley, buddy, good commentary tonight, man. You're always very insightful on all kinds of different things. Where can everybody follow you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live. Definitely be gonna need people to run this Halo come December. So, but yeah, it should be a blast. But yeah, awesome show tonight. Thanks for stopping by.
For sure. Let's see. Centurion Pal, good stuff this evening. Where can all our viewers follow you at?
Oh, man, it was an awesome show tonight, everybody. Thank you guys for having this conversation. Thank you to the chat for being there. And thank you, Wilmyhood, for coming out tonight. It was an awesome 200 show. My positive vibes, heart, and still go out to you, Wilmy. I mean, I know what's going on. So, dude, I really am there for you if you need anything. For those interested in following me, please follow me at Centurion1307. You find me there on YouTube, Xbox Live, and of course Twitter. You can also find me every Saturday night with the amazing PTK Blam over on the Shop Podcast, and of course right here every Sunday night on the TXR Podcast. And I mean, it's a mind blow that this is the 200th episode, and I still look back on the day that Invader reached out to me to join the TXR Podcast. And for me, I was a fan of Invader before I ever met him. I was watching his videos and getting, the inspiration to make more videos from watching his videos, and to have him just completely out of the blue just reach out to me to ask to be part of the podcast is still probably going to be one of the things I reflect on for the rest of my life.
Oh, thank you, brother. I am humbled that you say that. And, honestly, there's been, again, being the 200th episode, a continuation of, again, the Legacy show. We've had all kinds of very wonderful people a part of the show, whether it be Rand, Maka, and so on. Lots of wonderful guys, and honestly, with our crew here, just a continuation of that. Very insightful crew, even newcomers such as General MLD, such wonderful presences that we have on the show, and just great guys all around just to chat games with. And again, I love this show. I love the people that come and see us on a weekly basis. You guys rock, honest to God, and I love this show. It's a fantastic place to be. But yeah, saying that, guys, to round out all this, I'm Invader, and you guys can find my content over on YouTube at Invader Gaming. I should be having a review out in the coming week. Also, guys, don't forget to, if you haven't done so already, like the show, share this out, and subscribe for future content. Fun show all around, fellas, and we look forward to seeing you all here next Sunday. Take it easy.